We are surrounded by devices keeping us plugged in and perpetually distracted. But when life actually goes dark, those tools offer zero protection. When you face deep depression, severe trauma, or real grief, you cannot Google a way out. For 24 hours a day, you are entirely alone inside your own head, and external technology becomes completely useless. In that isolation, you quickly realize your brain is not your ally. It is a biological survival machine, programmed by millions of years of evolution to seek comfort and safety. It constantly tries to negotiate you away from pain and pull you back into easy routines. This chart illustrates exactly how your brain engineers that comfort. The solid line at 40. If you accept that 40% ceiling, you establish a permanent baseline of failure. Years ago, David Goggins weighed nearly 300 pounds, making $1,000 a month spraying for cockroaches. At that time, he genuinely believed he was operating at his absolute maximum limit. He thought he was trying hard. Until you recognize that your own mind is generating these false limits specifically to protect you from discomfort, pushing past them is biologically impossible. Reprogramming this system requires an aggressive initial step. You have to intentionally remove your brain's ability to quit. You do this through brute force repetition. If you fail a test because you cannot retain a single paragraph, you write it out by hand until you do. If you sink to the bottom of the pool, you go back to the water over and over again, regardless of the immediate failure. Eventually, the brain registers that the physical escape hatch is locked. It recognizes that the body is simply not going to stop trying, no matter the discomfort. Normally, the mind's stress response hits a dead end at the option to quit. When that exit is blocked, the system violently reroutes into a new continuous loop of adaptation. It overwrites the old structure. The mind stops panicking and starts figuring out how to survive. Without deliberately severing those escape routes, your brain will always choose the ease of failure over the heavy trauma of adaptation. Once the escape routes are gone, you enter the active phase of reprogramming. You have to establish a completely new baseline reality. Your old operating system expected comfort as the default state. The new protocol requires accepting daily suffering as the expected standard. Think about moving into a squalid $7 a month room. At first, your brain rejects it, but if you accept that this is your permanent reality, your mind eventually says, "Roger that, this is home," and calibrates to the severe environment. This exact psychological shift applies directly to physical breakdown. In Navy SEAL training, duct taping broken feet and running on stress fractures cannot be viewed as temporary torture. It has to be treated as standard operating procedure. When you accept a baseline of severe misery, like linking arms and freezing ocean surf, the mind stops panicking and structurally toughens up to handle the load. Under this level of sustained misery, superficial fuel sources burn up immediately. Anger, spite, or wanting to prove people wrong will not keep you standing when your physical body is failing. You have to dig down to what Goggins calls the mineral soil. This is the absolute deepest layer of psychological resolve, stripped entirely of emotion and ego. You cannot burn dirt. Operating from this raw, elemental layer allows you to hijack your biological fight or flight response. Instead of running from the panic, you feed the energy of that physiological charge directly back into your focus. By immersing yourself completely and becoming the absolute dictator of your own hell, you force your biology to weaponize its extreme disadvantages. The final structural outcome of this rigorous reprogramming is accessing a state of near invincibility when crises actually hit. When your physical body is shattered, you have built the capacity to retreat into a highly controlled mental space. You find absolute clarity and calm in the exact center of chaos. From the outside, this total embrace of suffering looks entirely sadistic. It looks like a person who simply enjoys feeling pain. But it is a precise application of cognitive mechanics. It is a robust mental architecture constructed by a terrified mind to conquer its own biological weaknesses. This leads to a difficult paradox. Genuine self-love and pride are completely unattainable while living inside the brain's original comfort zone. You cannot respect yourself if you avoid accountability. True peace is not found by avoiding friction. It exists exclusively on the absolute furthest edge of suffering and total accountability. That is the ultimate new normal.